Hello again, everyone. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, I title it, Then the Storm, because 2 weeks ago, I published a video and I titled it Midsummer Calm. Well, that's exactly what you get. You get a calm before the storm. Many times when you see these really big, nasty thunderstorms coming in, I've grown up in the Midwest. I live down in Texas right now, and man, you can get some pretty nasty thunderstorms. And it always seems like it gets very calm right before all hell breaks loose. And that's exactly what happened here in the market. Okay, we got very, very calm. The VIX got very low. There's several other things that were showing up also. And then we had one of the worst, well, it was the worst week of the year for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Okay, so let's take a look at the S&P 500. We're going to focus on that today. Then we're going to look at the VIX, and we're going to look at the flight to safety in the yen. And then I want to look at the strongest economy in the European Union and the German DAX and see what it's doing. So here's the daily chart. It was down 21.51 for the day on Friday. Very strong 3-day move. And you can see we got a little bit of a moving average crossover with this move. Now, we have been down 5 days in a row. We are definitely oversold. We're not extremely oversold, but we're definitely down in that area where, it wouldn't be surprising at all to get some kind of a bounce at the beginning part of next week. Now, the last time we got any kind of moving average cross was back over here in the beginning of May. And so there's no guarantee. You don't know for sure how long it's going to last or, what it's going to do. But when you look back in this whole section from January up until May, we got close, but we never got that moving average cross. So that's a little bit of kind of the basic traditional, one of the things that, some folks look at, some folks don't. I use a 10 EMA and a 21 simple, okay, as kind of a key to the short-term trend in here. Now, let's see, divergence-wise, we've been showing up divergence on the RSI and the DI plus over here in the directional indicators. We've been having that since, what is this date? This is July 2nd here, actually July 3rd. So this little push and this little push here were not confirmed by the indicators, and then we got the breakdown. Let's go over here and take a look at the weekly chart. We definitely had this very strong divergence showing up on the RSI on the weekly view, and we had the same thing showing up on DI plus, the green. So again, the setup was in there, and you could see the weakness that was not being confirmed. Let me blow this out. I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to get to the Elliott Wave picture in just a minute. Now, a couple of things going on here. If you look at this, we had this longer term trend line. Basically, this is the entire move on a weekly view from 2016, the beginning of 2016. Notice how we came back after the big break in the fall. We came back up and hugged right up to the trend line. And then we came back up a second time here in this move in July. So now it's going to be really, really interesting. Do we break down? Do we start, how much further do we break down in here in this move? And one more thing I noticed is you can take a look at and draw a trend line across the top of these highs. And notice how this high in July came right to that. Okay, if you were to use these two right here. Well, then you can do the same thing with the lows over here. And what does this form? It forms that classic broadening top megaphone type of formation. Now, I'm not really looking at that in detail, but I mean, it is considered to be a bearish type formation. So it's interesting that you get this or are getting this when we're seeing several other things, okay? So right now what I'm going to do is look at what's the preferred count I've got on the Elliott Wave picture. Let's take a look at the blue. Right now, I would have to say, you could either say we are in a flat, which is a big, large flat that's going on, three wave, and then expecting a 5-wave down, or it could also be considered to be an expanding triangle. Okay, an A, B, C, D, and then we'd have an E wave down. Now, the reason I like either one of these, actually, I kind of lean more towards this scenario, mainly because I like the fact that we got the peak in momentum here in the third of the third, and that fifth wave, we got the divergence, which I like to see in a fifth wave. So it really doesn't matter in terms of right now, in terms of what I'm expecting, because I'm expecting a 5-wave move down in here. Now, actually over here, if I go back to this scenario, it would be more of a 3-wave move as a part of the triangle. Okay, but either way, we're expecting a deep move coming. Okay, now why do I have it so far down? I've got it down in this area because what I would be expecting if we're trying to flush out a 4th wave in here, I'm expecting it to pull back down into the 4th wave of 1 lower degree. So if I'm in the intermediate degree, I'm expecting it to pull back down into the next wave down, which is the minor wave 4. And it's the same thing here on this scenario. Now, is there a bullish view? Yeah, there is. And there is a bullish view. And that would say that the 4th intermediate wave is completed already. Now, I've talked about this before, and the reason I don't like this is because this is a very, very shallow 4th wave in here, and we didn't even come close to getting down into the previous 4th wave. Now, that's not a rule. You don't have to get there. So that's why we're watching the wave count in here right now very closely. Now, if this is a bullish scenario, then it's either going to be an impulsive wave or it's going to be a diagonal of some kind. This is just something to be aware of as we start looking at the waves right now. This is what I'm watching for, watching to see how this starts to unfold as we move our way down. Okay, let's take a look at the VIX. We spent a lot of time on that, and here's the VIX. Now let me go to this moving average view. Here's what happened on the daily. And I was talking to my insider members as we saw this start to turn in here. I said, you know, we break out of this little congestion and break this longer term trend line, then we could really see some fireworks. And that's exactly what we got this week. This is what we're talking about. Now, we really haven't gotten above 20. And what's so significant at 20? A lot of people think of 20 as kind of that level that when you get above that, that's when the VIX is considered to be really getting elevated. Well, we got that in May. It didn't stay there very long, just a couple of days in terms of thrusting above it. And we came up and touched it on Friday. So we'll see what kind of follow through we get here on the VIX. But it definitely has woken up from this midsummer calm that occurred in here, kind of like exactly what happened in April, okay, in terms of the lowness. All right, that's the VIX. Let's take a look at the Japanese yen. Okay, here's the daily view on the yen. Look how it broke out of this consolidation pattern. Very nice. Here's the last 2 days. Actually, I'm going to do something here. I'll get rid of that line. There we go. This resistance line up in here on the weekly chart, I didn't want it over on the daily chart. It just kind of clutters up the view. So look at this 2-day break, 2-day move that happened Thursday, Friday. And, you know, the volume in here, it's kind of a little bit hard to see. But this line, this orange line in here is the 50-day moving average of the volume. So when you see the bars get above that level, then you know you're getting some significant volume kicking in. The last 2 days definitely got the volume kicking in with this move. I like to see that. I like to see volume coming in on the move. Now let's come over here and take a look at the weekly chart. Look at this long-term trend line that we broke out of back here in June, actually. It started in mid-April. Here's that move. So here's May as a little bit of the flight to safety starts coming in. And then we break out of this long-term trend line. We stall out, and now we resume it this week. What's so significant about this 89.13? Well, that was this prior high that occurred at the end of the year, okay, with all that selling that was occurring and panic and everything at the end of December. That was the high. Well, where did we, here on the week of June 23rd, we got 1 penny above that. We came right to it. 89.14 was the high here. This is 89.13. And what did we do this week? We closed above it. We didn't just come up and touch it. We closed above it. So to me, that's pretty strong. We're coming out of this consolidation pattern. We closed above these highs. Where's the next resistance on the weekly chart? It's all the way up into here. So it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of follow through we get here on the yen. Okay, let's take a look at the German DAX. Okay, here's the moving average view on Friday. You can see the German DAX continued to sell off, kind of fell out of bed. I mean, look where it closed on Thursday, gapped down big on Friday and just kept selling off. and it was down 380 points, closing at 11,872. So 380 points at this level, that's a pretty big move. And for the week, it was down 547.46. So let's take a look at the the Elliott Wave picture in here. This is what I've got. And I had shown this to my insider members that this is a really, really key trend line in here in terms of a counter trend. And what did it do this week? It shattered right through that. This is a weekly view. You can see that right down here. So this is what I think is going on with the German DAX. Okay, I think it's in a long-term uptrend in here, but I believe that we're correcting very similar to what I think is going on with the major indices here in the United States, that we're in a fourth wave. Well, if that's the case, where would you look for it to come down to? And, you know, the target is the previous fourth wave of 1 lower degree. So that's down here at 86.68. That's a long way down. And again, you know, we just start watching the wave count to see if the wave count confirms what we are looking for. Okay, if you felt like that video was helpful, hit the like button. And if you're not a subscriber to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to get more inside education trade ideas, become an insider member, head on over to joehenches.net and check it out. This is what the website looks like. This is where you can sign up for free video updates and also check out the membership here. All right, that's it for this weekend. Everyone have a great weekend. I'll talk to you on the next video.